need music. I don't have any music.
La 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 la
It's so funny. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Yarn Thing podcast with Marley Bird and the guys. Today's special guest is Jason and Sheba Jason and Sheba. Jeez Louise. Jason and Shannon from the Shibaguyz. And
That's cocktails early in the morning.
It feels that way. It feels like we should have them that early. This early. I am all discombobulated. I am so all over the place. If this is the first time you've ever tuned into the Yarn Thing podcast, welcome. Usually it's I'm a little bit more put together. I'm just a little I'm fangirling. I don't know now. Let's see. So the Yarn Thing podcast, I do it most Tuesday mornings at 10 o'clock Mountain Time. And well, it used to be every Tuesday morning, but then I travel so much that it doesn't happen. Right. So, most Tuesday mornings at 10 o'clock Mountain Time, you can catch the Yarn Thing podcast with wonderful guests from the yarn industry. We have lovely sponsors I would like to say thank you to. We have Stitches.events, which is the event that we actually just both attended was Stitches United. We have Creative Bug, Craftsy.com, Buffalo Wool Company, Erin Lane Bags, and last but certainly not least, Red Heart Yarns, where I'm the proud national spokesperson. You can learn more about all of our sponsors by visiting the Marley Bird website and just clicking on podcasts, click on sponsors, and you'll see a list of all of our sponsors right there. Don't forget that redheart.com is the home of Chic Sheep Yarn by Marley Bird. You can always check out all 24 colors over there on redheart.com. I'll make sure I put a link in the video description box below. This is so funny. You guys are all dancing. So I feel like I need to just jump right on in with today's guest.
Because we already have. I mean, I'm just saying.
You know what? Yeah. I've known Jason and Shannon both for years. Has it been like 9, 10 years, 11 years? A long time. And it's interesting because I think if I remember correctly, Shannon used to be a fan of the podcast. So he used to kind of listen in, he'd get on while he was working. And that's kind of how we got introduced to one another. Yep. And then all of a sudden he was like, I'm going to just grab the bull by the horns and just take off. And then he's taken Jason with him. So they have.
I'm the bull, by the way. Just in case.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah. So they have been designing now for 11 years, and they've been doing all sorts of great work. And today we're going to talk about their brand new book, Complete Crochet Course of Ultimate Reference Guides. Look how thick this is, you guys. This is a thick book. So this is really cool, really cool.
336 pages.
That's a lot. It's a lot of writing and images.
2 years of work, right?
Yeah, lots and lots of work. So really quickly, for the people who might not know much about you guys, let's give them a brief history of how you got into the industry and kind of take us up to where you are right now so that we can talk about the book and how it came to fruition, because it all just doesn't happen overnight. It's a lot of work.
Oh, it did. It happened overnight.
Oh, yeah.
We just started yesterday, so it's happened overnight. Just
boom. It was amazing.
Actually, it happened 51 years ago. I was born in a small town in southeastern Ohio, and then is that too far back?
That's a little far back.
Okay, so that's too far back. So closer. How did we get into this?
Well, it was actually my mother.
It was his mom's fault. Because I was really getting totally stressed out at my job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shannon had a heart episode at work,
which meant that I had to go to the hospital and sit there for 6 hours, and they said, "Sir, it appears that you might be having a heart attack, but we don't know because there's a wait line to get in to get tested, so we can't test you for the enzymes, but it appears like you're so we need you to stay calm." And you know me, I went ballistic. What? I was like, "What? So they gave me some sedatives, which were amazing. But that kind of sent us down the road, right?
Yeah.
And then I was down there. Your parents were visiting that time.
Yeah. So Shannon quit his day job.
We just bought this house.
We just bought this house.
We had just bought the house.
I don't recommend it for those of you who are don't do that. So Shannon quit his day job and just was looking for something to do during that period where you start looking for something to do, and he picked up his
I was doing shit like listening to Marley's podcast and all day long, just like
No, he just had some yarn out and was working on something. My mother
I was making socks and hats just for the holidays, right? It was in the summer. His mom and dad were here visiting, and I'm sitting there doing that, and and they're talking. And I remember I was right there in the kitchen.
Yeah,
I was sitting on a bar stool, sitting there.
Yeah,
and she comes over and she looks at what I'm doing. She goes, "Boy, what are you doing there?" And I tell her, and she goes, "Boy, I'd buy that." And she said, "I'd buy that." And I was like, my mother-in-law said she'd buy this. So it must be pretty good because she's a maker, like from
way back.
You know, I mean, she was a professional seamstress and a costume designer and a crocheter and knitter and quilter and sewer and you know, all the things. And I mean, she did great work. And if she liked it, and so we tried some craft fairs that Christmas just to try to see if we could sell stuff. And we sold out at the first one that we went to. Like Jason went out to the trunk of the car and got my fingerless mitts and scarf.
His personal ones.
My personal ones, and sold them to people standing there. So it was like, so this stuff's pretty good.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? But
so it's like, okay, so it's okay, and people like us, so maybe we got a thing here. And
so next thing you know, he's submitting patterns into Crochet Magazine and Interweave, and his first published pattern was actually on the cover of what was then
that magazine in the UK,
Inside Crochet.
Remember that back in the day?
Yes,
still got done in the UK.
Back in the day, that was the first that was our first published pattern.
Yeah,
was on the cover of that, and then
300 patterns later.
300 patterns. We're at 300 plus patterns.
Yeah,
and this is our 10th book.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's where we are, and then we're here talking to you.
Well, so I'm going to ask Jason, how did you get pulled into it then? If Shannon quit his job.
Oh, there's the story.
That's a good story. That's really good.
So Shannon was at TNNA, which for those of you who don't know is an industry meeting. So it's like a large
conference, professional conference.
Yeah, it is a professional conference.
Meeting with an editor.
And he was meeting with an editor, Susan Sullivan.
Susan Sullivan, when she was with Leisure Hearts, right?
And they were talking about a book that we were going to, that he was going to do for them, and she was looking through all of these photos and
my sketches and swatches and stuff.
You know, these are really, really interesting, but you can tell that they're really based on Seattle and that city you live in. They've got a real.
They're inspired by that city vibe, that urban feel,
urban feel to it.
Maybe you should get a local photographer to photograph them there in Seattle. Do you know any local photographers? And I said, why, yes, I do. And so I open up my flip phone, right? You remember the flip phone? This is how long ago it was the flip phone, right? Like this. And I start going ABC, MNO, you know, I had to spell it and then backspace, backspace. And about 20 minutes later, I sent him a text and said, congratulations, you're a professional photographer. Closed my phone and turned it off.
Oh,
2 days.
You turned it off?
A few hours. I turned it off for
no
a few
idea
hours.
what he had done. Now, mind you, up until this point, my forays into photography were basically
dog shows
and gardening.
Because we had a small space gardening business.
Yeah. So I had done no real, true professional.
He'd done dog show and portraiture and stuff like that, but that was it. But as far as industry, fiber industry type stuff, he knew how to do really good food photography and stuff, and that translates directly over into this. So
that was my first professional gig was an internationally published book.
We don't do anything even a little bit small.
I can relate. I'm the same way. I think that's.
If you're gonna do it. Just do it. Just collapse it. Oh, that's what it takes to do it. Great, I'll do that. That takes everybody else a year. We'll do it within a month, maybe 2 months.
Yeah,
collapse the time frames and move forward. I mean, why wait around? I'm getting freaking old, Marley.
Me too. We used to be so much younger, Shannon. What happened? I'm like,
makeup.
I need like the bye-bye. It's like bye-bye under eyes or something like that. Like,
Right.
Oh yeah, the It Cosmetics.
No, I went to one of those makeup counters and I said, "What do I need to get rid of these?" And she looked at me and she said, "Honestly," and I said, "Yeah," and she said, "A nap."
Right? Yeah.
I was like, yeah, good.
Thanks.
By the way, Susan Sullivan is watching today, and she sent some hearts through on the chat room. So I just thought I would share that with you. Because I don't know how much you guys know this, but Susan Sullivan holds a special place in my heart too. She was one of the first people to publish me as well. And poor Susan, like I had never made a sweater, and I'd never even crocheted or knit my own sweater, like following somebody else's pattern.
Right.
And
Oh, yeah.
she bought a book for me to make sweaters and stuff. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I can figure this out. And so
Right.
she's like, you are fearless. That's what she always tells me. She's like, Marley, you are fearless. And I'm like,
Yep.
and just like what you said, you can't wait too long. I got to figure it out. I'll figure it out, and I will
we
make
come
it
up with
happen.
an idea and then just move forward, and it really does to a lot of people look like, I mean, even at this last at Stitches United, there were people that came up and said that it seemed like you became experts on some of this stuff like overnight. And I'm like going, no, we've been doing it our whole lives. Like this new thing that we're doing with the sewing classes that we're doing with the Sashiko and things like that. We're starting to teach these sewing classes and quilting and hand embroidery and stuff. And it was Elaine from XRX, and she comes up and she goes, don't take this wrong. You've talked to Elaine, so you know. She goes,
Yes.
Don't take this wrong, but I really thought, oh, sure, now they're experts in this overnight too. And she comes up and she goes, but you really are. Like she looks at the stuff and she's like, but you really are. And it's not overnight. It's just that we have these things in our toolkit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And you go, how can I best utilize them to further what I want to do in the industry, right?
Right.
And if an opportunity comes up, or if we see that we can create an opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you're the same way. If you see that you can create an opportunity, you do it,
Right.
and you move forward with it. If it fits your end goal that you have in mind, or even if it can expand that a little bit and you haven't thought of it before, we move into it. And it's
sure. It's scary, but why wait?
It's
Why
not
just sit there
scary
waiting?
in that way. That's like,
there are days when it is scary. Like, I don't believe we're doing this. Really?
well, but in a good way. But in a good way, not in that way that you feel like you're going to go to the hospital again.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's funny. I love it. All right, so here we are. So we are at your 10th book, and this one was with Lark this time. And I'm gonna switch camera angles so you can see
The
here.
last 3 books that we've done have been with Sterling Lark Publishing. Yeah.
Yes, we
I
love
love
them.
it.
The last 3 that we did. Yeah.
That's really great. That's really great. I did a book with, well, we'll talk afterwards. So I'm like, wait a minute, you're on air. Don't say that.
Right.
You ever have those moments where
Yes.
it feels like I'm just talking and I'm like, oh, don't say that out loud. No, anyways.
So the cool thing about this one, I mean, in the last 3 in general, even that first book that Jason did with us, Jason did all of the layout. He packaged this book.
Okay.
So that means we wrote the words, the photography, the graphic design, the charts, the layout, everything is Jason's work in this. And then the creative team at Sterling Publishing went in there and made sure the colors all matched up and everything worked. And they consulted with us. I mean, they were so great to work with, just consulting, saying, try this. We'd go with it to them with an issue and go, we need this to look like this. And they'd help us. I'm telling you, as far as book packaging goes, it was amazing.
Yeah.
But again, 2 years. Did I mention that part?
Yes.
2 years.
2 years, by the way. And we didn't publish a lot in the middle of that. We didn't put out a whole lot of new patterns or do a lot of magazine work. We did some stuff with Interweave. And just put out some of the stuff that we had. I think we probably put out like 6-8 new patterns.
Yeah, something like that,
over the course of that, and like 4 or 5 magazine patterns. And that's what we did, and traveling and teaching. And this was our lives for 2 years.
Wow.
It was insane.
It's wonderfully done. Was this like you guys had the idea of, hey, you know what? I really want to do our own book as a big resource book that we can provide. So
what we wanted was something that any crocheter from like, I don't know what a hook looks like, and I'm not sure what this stringy thread stuff is that's yarn. I mean, we wanted to start with them and work all the way through some of the most technical cables
some of the
and
newest
color
techniques,
work,
right?
finishing. We wanted to give them everything so that it doesn't matter what level they were at, that they could just reach up, grab that book, and the answer is going to be there waiting for them.
You know, it's the reference guide that I always wished that I had when I got into the industry. And it was me, because I mean, we collect a lot of books. I mean, this is just a fraction of them on the shelves behind us.
Yeah.
We collect, I mean, every type of book we can get a hold of. And the crochet books, we'd find something here and something there and something here and something there. And you know how you do, you pull down. So we wanted this one to be all inclusive as we possibly could. And thank goodness the people at Sterling were like, here's all the pages, go.
Yeah.
Because
that is so.
I mean, it's tough to get your publisher to give you. Like they look at you and they go, oh, do you really need that many? They kept going, okay, well, we can give you another signature. We can give you another signature. and which I was like, ooh, we can get another 16 pages, and he goes,
I was ready
no.
to kill him at the end. I'm like, no.
He goes, no more pages.
I'm through. Because it was usually 16 pages right in the middle of the book.
Right.
So everything had to be adjusted. Yeah.
Which is something you don't think about unless you're actually like putting the book together, because
oh yeah.
Right,
you know?
unless we know. And, you know, I mean, again, one of the advantages of being the packaging team like this is that, you know, the author, designer, photographer, finisher, we're all, you know, we're under one roof.
Yeah,
there's nobody else. There's us.
Yeah.
And so there weren't a lot of, instead of emails back and forth where you're waiting for a day or half a day or 2 days sometimes if they're away for your publisher to email you back, it was yelling downstairs, hey, honey, or texting between different floors of the house and saying, we need to fix this, or how do we do this?
Yeah.
And it was, you know, and then their help when we would say, because Wendy Williams was the editor.
I don't know if
for this. I don't know if you've worked with Wendy before.
I haven't.
She's done some of like the most iconic, like the Finishing School book, Deborah Newton's Finishing School.
Yes.
That's Wendy.
Okay.
That's Wendy Williams. She used to be with another company before she went to Sterling. And knowing that this book was in her hands, where she would look at it and be like, okay, this is telling them, we would make sure the message gets across. She understands the fiber industry inside and out. And again, she's put together some amazing books. So being able to go to her and say, what do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think? And, you know, use her as a sounding board was so amazing. And that's tough to do sometimes. That's tough to do sometimes. And she was good at it. So we felt good about it.
Yeah.
We were scared to death. We were more scared about this than anything, because we figured we'd catch a lot of, can I say shit on her podcast?
You have 3 times so far.
Oh, I have? Okay. We figured we'd catch a lot of stuff for this, you know? And
I love it, Jason. I love you.
I forget that it's live.
I know.
You know, I was just going with it, but I was like, okay, you're good. We're good. We're good.
Sorry, I don't know what's coming out.
It's okay. Do you ever do it in class? Like, I'll say it in class and I'll go, oh my gosh. And then I'll say, like, I just said blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, I just said it again. Oh, well.
I just said it again.
Yeah, it happens all the time. So I have a question for you. Shannon, do you recall having a breakfast meeting with me at a coffee shop at one of the TNNAs? And it was when you and I were talking about doing work for Bijou Basin Ranch. And I said to you, you know what? You should really become a full like publishing sort of company, in the sense that you just do it all in-house. Do you remember me saying that to you?
Well, and we were I mean, the funny thing is a lot of times we're planning things, but we can't tell people until after it happens. And so a lot of people were seeing what we were planning. A lot of people were seeing what we were planning, but we couldn't really say, oh yeah, this is what we're going to do. I mean, you can't.
This is the direction that we're actually headed.
We're pretty much an open book when it comes to a lot of the plans that we have, but some of them we really don't want to put them out there until they're a little more than half baked. You know, we want to make sure they're a little more done. So it was funny because I'm talking to him after. Yeah, I remember that meeting specifically because it was that really good. They had really good pastries at that place.
Yes.
Because then I went back over to the convention center and Carrie Clements came and got me and she goes, oh, I know this great place with great pastries. And I'm like, oh yeah, take me. So I got another muffin that day. I got a second. But anyway, yeah, no, I totally remember that. And so many people seem to have, I don't know, I guess we're more transparent than we thought we were.
I guess.
Because a lot of people were saying that to us and it was just like, we were just trying to make all the pieces fall into place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we had to learn a lot.
Yeah.
We had to learn a lot.
Oh yeah. There was definitely a learning curve.
But it's either that or we're gonna go farm it out and pay somebody else to do it, right?
Yeah.
And that was just not an option because I can't give up that much creative control.
I'm right there with you. You're so blessed to have Jason on your team, like to have that collaborative person right there with you. I mean, I've got a team of helpers that are phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. I love Caitlin and Brittany and they're great on the aspect of what they do. But as far as having somebody in-house with me, you know, editing videos or editing patterns or doing the I don't want to call it minutia, but you know, the other stuff. I don't have anybody like
stuff.
The stuff.
No, I know. You're right. You're exactly right. The stuff.
Yeah, and that sort of stuff builds up quickly. It's the little things that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's one day of letting stuff
slip,
and the next thing you know, you check your to-do list and you go, crap.
What happened?
That's exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
My to-do list
Mhm.
right now is overflowing. Like all I can think about is like I've got to prioritize things right now. But anyways, that's not here nor there. So
Anyway.
let's talk about the book in the sense of you said
Yes.
it's from for a very beginner who has never picked up a hook, never done a chain stitch, who by the way I've had in a class before at Stitches when
Oh no,
they walked in.
We did the other day in our advanced cable class.
Yep. Yeah.
Advanced cable class.
Yes. Yes. Mine
And
was
the
an
thing is,
advanced
she got
stitches
it.
class. Yes. And
She
they
got
they
it.
walked in and I had like 3 people and they were like, so I said, okay, so chain like 30. And they go, well, what's a chain? How do I chain? I'm like, excuse me? Like,
Ouch, this is going to be a long afternoon.
Yeah.
Team teaching, advantage to
Advantage
team
of team
teaching.
teaching. Yeah.
But yeah, it's for the brand new person, or it's for the person who's been crocheting. Like somebody just left a comment this morning on our Facebook page, and she said, "I've been crocheting for 56 years." And and she used to publish with Leisure Arts. I remember her. She was the beading lady from.
Her. Yeah.
She said, "I've been crocheting for 56 years, and I still got stuff out of this." She said, "This is my new reference guide," and that's exactly what we were going for. Whether you're brand new or whether you've been crocheting for a very long time, there's some new stuff in this, and there's some techniques. All like you said, all the finishing techniques, plus our worksheets for substituting yarn and things like that are back in the back, and for calculating gauge. So the worksheets are included in there as well, so you can like photocopy those off and
just
redo
write
them
all over it,
redo them over and over again. And then there's 5 patterns in the back. It's not a pattern book, but there are 5 teaching patterns in the back
that basically walk you through everything that you've learned throughout the whole course of it, whether it's the color work throw,
right,
or the signature vests, which have separate back panels, so you can do one in lace and you can do one in cables, so you can practice all of the things but still have something to wear or to have in the house.
And I think the thing about this book that took the longest was cross-referencing everything. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And making sure that if this technique is here, what builds on that? And if we mentioned something earlier, you have to say, see page, blah, 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 to explain that. Or for the next steps, go to this.
Yeah.
And so everything weaves back and forth. It goes in logical progression from here's a hook, here's yarn, to here's how you make chains. And if you go logically through the book and just work your way through it, you'll be, you can work for us as a contractor after that. That's our real goal, to tell you the truth, is to just train more contractors. No. But it's all the way through advanced stitches and advanced finishing. But at the same time, if you want a reference guide, you can go back through the index and pull out, how do I do the foundation slip stitch, right?
Likewise, as you flip through the book, you'll notice that there are little purple boxes on there occasionally. With
this is so cool. This is so cool.
That say stitch on.
Stitch on.
And those are things where we've taught you a certain stitch or a certain technique, and now you can just
repeat it. Just repeat it and keep going and do it this way, like corner to corner.
Yep.
And so we show a corner to corner square and a corner to corner rectangle and say stitch on. If you keep going, you get this. And it shows a picture of a corner to corner afghan that we've made. Same thing with like a ripple, or you can make a scarf out of it, or a feather and fan.
I'm going to show that on screen so people can see what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. That's
right. And you were right at the corner to corner, right?
Yeah, that's what I pulled it up so that way.
Yeah.
So there's application to the techniques, because some of them just can't go without an application. I feel like you might get it, but unless there's an application to it, it's gonna fall out your head. It does with me. So having an application to the technique, or an application to the ones that are maybe a little bit more tricky, or even the ones we wanted ones where they could have like the easy quick victory. Where it could be like, okay, once you get this, now go make your very first, like I can't remember what the very first project in there is we say to do. Oh, like the linen stitch.
Oh yeah.
And just keep going and make a linen stitch scarf.
Yeah, which is beautiful. Yeah, they're so
because
beautiful.
they're gonna look like rock stars, right? Can you imagine a brand new crocheter walking around with a linen stitch scarf and their friends being like, "You made that?" We wanted to give them that first little pump of, victory, feeling like they did something.
Yeah.
And then they also reference back to the patterns, like the color work section has a log cabin block in it. And if you go back into the patterns, that log cabin block is used different ways and rotated different ways to make different afghans. Yeah. And every place in the patterns, in the beginning, we added what's called a skills used section. And in the skills used, it shows what you're going to use in this pattern. So there'll be a long list of foundation half double crochets. There'll be the finishing techniques, linked stitches, you know, whatever it is that you, the end cap finishing stitch.
Yeah. So anything you might not be perfect.
Disappear.
Oh,
are you still there?
I am. Yeah, you were breaking up a little bit.
You turned into a green dot with a white body.
It was very bizarre.
Yeah, it was really bizarre.
So anything an experienced crocheter might not be familiar with, you still have the ability just to go back real quick and cross-reference.
And it says next to it, like it'll say foundation slip stitch, C page, blah, blah, blah. So all the techniques that are used, we're assuming nothing. We're assuming that they know nothing, and they can go back to that section of the book and look through it and brush up on it before they go forward with the pattern.
That is brilliant. Now I'm going to ask you guys a question. The tech editing side of it, you guys are, I mean, I'm guessing you have your own tech editors you work with, me too.
Yes.
Because you guys aren't doing that in-house. You do?
No.
Okay.
No, we do not do our own tech editing. We had a tech editor and 3 copy editors.
Okay. Who's your tech editor? I love the chart.
We have a couple of different tech editors. We can talk to you about that later.
Okay, that works. I could do that.
Yeah.
But copy editors, like Wendy Williams edited it herself, like went through and didn't just do a regular editing pass.
Yes,
she did a full edit herself on this book. I mean, editors get into it, right? She was insane into this and just talking to us and talking through points of the book and helping us find better ways to say things sometimes. And then there were 2 other copy editors that went through it, and they even had a backup tech editor go through it.
Wow.
I mean, well, with something this massive, you don't want big errors. Stuff's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. There's always going to be like a thing.
With that many, there's going to be something. But then we had, I mean, there were all the editing teams with the photos and making sure the right photo went in the right place and nothing was upside down. And
right.
Believe me, there was some upside down stuff when we got the stuff back. But yeah, it was edited to within an inch of its life. And then I had like Barbara Van Elsen, you know her. Yeah, she was my sounding board from beginning to end on this. I mean, it would be like, okay, Barbara, this is what I'm trying to say. Tell me if this sounds insane, you know, because we say some stuff, we say some pretty definitive things in there. If it was going to be the ultimate guide, we wanted to be able to say, hey, people aren't saying it this way, but it needs to be like, there needs to be defined language in crochet. And knitting is way ahead of us. They're about 10 years ahead of crocheters.
In that nomenclature.
Yeah, in saying prescribed, this is the way that it's said every time. And so we said, there's a part in the book where we talk about the Intergalactic Council of Crochet Elders. That the only way that the crocheters at this point are going to agree that this stitch is always called this stitch is if there is a convening of the Intergalactic Council of Crochet Elders. And even then, we might all go to war over it, even with that.
Right.
So,
is it really a shell or is it a fan?
Yeah. So we had to make a statement in this book and
say, is it a fan?
Right.
I just had this conversation with somebody.
Right. And so show them the book and say, hey, it's in the ultimate reference guide says that it's this. So there it is. You can't argue with it.
That is hilarious. I literally just had that huge conversation just the other day with somebody because I was like,
you have to have common language or else we can't teach. And it's okay to say, well, sometimes it's called this, sometimes it's called this, but there has to be at least less than 7 ways of calling one stitch the same thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, and so putting that stuff in, we wanted to consult with there were several what we consider crochet elders that we did consult with and talk to and say, okay, please give us your feedback on this. Here's a section that we're writing. Here's the concept. Please give us your feedback.
Right.
And sometimes we'd take it and sometimes we wouldn't. And but we took everything into consideration when we did it. So we just wanted to make sure that that we did not. Yeah, no, I didn't care about ticking people off.
You've met us, right?
Yes, right. Yeah.
I just wanted to be sure that we took everybody's opinions into consideration and listened.
Exactly.
That we at least listened to what was being said. And of course, when people found out finally that we were writing this, there were a lot of opinions that came in. So we did listen, but we did listen because that's part of our job as teachers to listen. And then we put in what we thought needed to go in anyway for the betterment of the flow of the book and the way things worked.
And as you should, that's the way it should happen. So one of the questions in the chat room, hold on, I gotta scroll up.
You can see them, we can't.
No, you're good. I have a pop-out screen. And what's crazy is with YouTube, it's really interesting because the questions during the actual podcast when we're live, like they're only there when they're live. Because then we'll get comments after the fact.
Oh, they disappear.
So they go away. Yeah. So I have to make sure I look over there. So excuse me for that. Somebody wants to know, is it available in an ebook format at this time?
It is.
Yes, it is available.
If you go on Amazon, it's on there. It's in their. What's theirs? Amazon is the Fire
Kindle. Yeah, it's available on Kindle and it's available in Nook.
Yeah, because Barnes and Noble, Sterling Publishing, Lark Publishing is Barnes and Noble.
So
yeah, they have it. It's an electronic format in both of those. Yeah, we have people that. We have a woman who stood there and she bought her signed copy of the book at Stitches United this time. And she goes, and I'm downloading it because I want to take it with me. And I want the hard copy because it's pretty.
Yes, I understand. I totally get that. Just so everybody knows, I do have my own Amazon link that I put in the show notes. So if you're interested in using an affiliate link, it doesn't cost you anything more, but it always helps everybody all the way around.
3 cents more.
Yeah.
That's
a little quarter of a cup of coffee.
Let's see here. I'm just gonna scroll up a little bit and we'll just keep going. We have people saying hello from Mexico, from Ireland, from France, from Canada. Hey. Susan Sullivan did say Marley is fearless. See, there you go.
She is, yeah.
Let's see here. We have Mississippi is saying hello. And
hi, Mississippi.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hi.
Hey, did you see I put my pearls on? I told you I was gonna wear my pearls. Because it's a special occasion.
I'm not that together.
Let's see. People are saying they love the Pacific Northwest. They love the images that you're doing out there. Linen Stitch is their favorite.
Our Instagram account, right?
Yeah, it's good stuff. Let's see here. Somebody is saying that they can't figure out corner to corner, so they've got to get at your book so they can figure out corner to corner. I also have a video of it here on the YouTube channel if you guys are interested. Put the two together and you have a perfect
right?
sandwich.
No kidding.
No kidding. Let's see. They want to know if the local yarn stores want to carry your book. How would they go about getting your book to put in the stores?
Right. So email us at shibaguyz@shibaguyz.com.
Shibaguyz at shibaguyz.com with a Z, everybody.
With a Z.
Shibaguyz.
Or you can go directly. I mean, the website for the book is completecrochetcourse.com.
Yes. If you go there, they'll get us go to the contact us link. And then we can put you in contact with our direct connection with Sterling.
Our publicists either hook them up or else they gave us a direct marketing person who deals with just our 3 books now from there. So
very cool. Hey, you know what? I am getting notified from Sarah Dawn that says YouTube literally just changed it. So now you can see the comments on the playback, which is huge. That is so great. I didn't know that. See, they've changed it in the time that I've done my podcast that I've been traveling.
They heard what you're saying. And
I guess that's it. They heard me.
Well, no, because they need to compete with Facebook.
That's
because
right.
We don't do YouTube because of a lot of that type of stuff. So we have our cooking show on Mondays and Fridays on our Facebook page, and we can see all the comments and comment after the fact. That's the only reason.
It's huge. We also have people saying hi from Trinidad and Tobago. Well, that's a new one.
Hey, Trinidad.
Right? In India. Somebody wants India. Let's see here. And so in the UK, people are saying hi from the UK.
Yo, UK.
So Atrinka, she says, do you have something about altering crochet patterns? I'm petite and I need alterations.
We have you take our class. We have a class on when we teach at Stitches or when we teach those types of events. We have our Alter It to Fit class, but also now on Interweave.
Is it Interweave? Okay, it's
Interweave. Thank you.
Interweave.
Because we have Craftsy classes too. But on our Interweave classes, we have an alterations class on there, a design class, and that came out about a year or so ago.
Must be.
Yeah, about a year or so ago. So if you go to our website, there's links to that Plus, it gets you a little bit of a discount on it if you
Perfect. So I know this is like, it's almost one of those things. You just had a baby. Are you going to have another one? But
yeah, we're already working on the next two.
Yep.
Next two. Wow.
We're working on the next two.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
we're working on the next 2 books.
Are they more pattern oriented or more instructional reference oriented?
One of them, yes. One of them that we're hoping to be done in the next couple of years is this new Sashiko and Boro sewing technique that we're doing. And so this is, I mean, not knitting crochet at all. It's all quilting and hand piecing, and it's Japanese Boro. Can they see that at all? No, because it's like angled the wrong way. Wait, I feel like this. Now move away. Oh, I've got the camera in the wrong place. Yeah, you can see that now, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
So it's this patch, it's this Japanese patchwork and the hand embroidery, the Japanese Sashiko embroidery, and this. Ooh.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and so they saw us posting it on. Look, I'm going to put the camera back. Did I put it back in the right place?
Yep, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, they saw us working on it on Instagram. And said, hey, we kind of want that. So we'll see how that works out. That's our agent has it now. And the way we do it is we just give her what we want to do. And if she thinks that it'll fly, she can sell it to somebody. So
that's cool.
Unfortunately, there were 2 at the same time. So it's like,
yeah,
we have to see which one. So we started working on both, and we'll just see which one the contract comes through on first.
I get you. So Jeanette is asking, does the book include a section on how to read charts?
Yes.
Oh boy, it does. Yes, absolutely.
Huge section on how to read charts.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just only how to read it, but it has a huge reference section back in the back that has.
Keep going. There we go.
Yeah, so it's got the crochet abbreviations master list.
Yeah.
Show better on yours. I don't know.
That's perfect.
And then it has this big grid over here.
Yes.
Has little bitty pictures, but then when
you have the big one.
Right.
Right.
And it blows up each individual section, and you can see up there's a little thing that shows where the section is. So this is as comprehensive as we got about it. Like Jason made it really good, and that's one of the sections that they worked on and really said, hey, let's do a cross reference with this way.
That was a brilliant idea on their
this is brilliant
over at Sterling.
Brilliant. I love it. I mean, there's so much work that has gone into this. And I know that there's a lot of reference. Do you I know you discuss hooks and yarns and stuff, but how do you approach that? How do you talk about the different yarns? What yarns do you decide to feature? Like, how does that work when you're doing a book like
We didn't talk about any particular yarn brand.
Okay.
We just talked about the generalities of the plies of yarn and what yarn is made up of and how that affects your final projects. We come at it from the side of the fabric.
And in our general opinion, and we talk about this in class as well, is that there are no bad yarns. It's just finding the right project for each individual yarn.
Yeah, that each yarn makes its own fabric, and how to do that. That's how we approach it in the book.
Yeah, it's just a matter of knowing what it's going to do when you're working with it.
Absolutely.
I mean, you aren't going to make a baby blanket out of cashmere. You just you just aren't going to do that.
But then there are people that do.
There are people that do. But so you want to find the right project for each thing and use it for that.
So we go at it from the standpoint of creating the fabric and evaluating the yarn based on what it will make. And we basically just explain, animal, vegetable, mineral, and just say, here's the basic things to look for. And it doesn't go a deep dive into it, but it's enough so that I think even advanced crocheters were picking it up at Stitches United and at Stitches West. And they were picking it up and looking at it and just like, oh, I never knew this about that. I never knew that's why my stuff came out that way when I switched from an acrylic from a factory-made fiber to a plant-based fiber or an animal-based fiber, and they didn't understand that connection. We can be working with fiber arts for years and just doing what we know to do, right? And not realize some of the things that we're doing that affects the final outcome of our project.
Right.
And sometimes those things are like,
Shannon spends there are a couple pages in there when he's talking about which loops to work in, whether you're working the back loop, whether you're working the front loop, and why that changes what crochet looks like.
Because the stitches bevel and so we try to do it instead of doing a full breakdown of yarn and what it does. We did basically a primer on yarn, which I think even as a primer, it was several pages.
It's a pretty hefty primer. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
They could have taken off because there's a lot that's not in there. I mean, believe me, there were another couple hundred pages that were taken out.
Yeah, it's all cutting room floor.
Yeah, right. There was a whole folder in my Scrivener stuff that was called cutting room floor that we just had to just start dragging stuff into it because it wasn't going to fit. And so really getting it down to the best way to say it and the most concise way to say it, and especially with the fiber, that was huge because you could go on, you could go on for days about fiber.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's basically a primer on the different types of fiber, where they come from, and what makes them act the way they do.
I love it. I love it so much. This is so awesome.
Thank you.
Really, I mean, honestly, I could absolutely appreciate the amount of work that goes into this. And then to pick it up, and I was pleasantly surprised when I opened it. I was like, this is really good. Not that I didn't think you would do something that was really good. Like, that's not what I mean, but
oh, of course.
I mean, it's really good. You know what I mean?
I think it's shocking that we get this type of treatment. The the American Library Association has their book list.
Yes.
So it got a starred review.
That's good.
I mean, just saying. Yeah, they'll review books, but this one got a starred review. Our last 3 in a row have gotten starred reviews from them, and it said it started out by saying it's about time crocheters got the same treatment as knitters.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And they compare it to some of the bigger volumes and the older volumes, if you know what I'm talking about. Were those big tomes like that, and they compare it to those books. In that something, and you got to give it to Sterling, to Lark Publishing on this, because they had the vision to let us go with it. You know what I mean? They really had the vision ahead of time to just say, it needs to be done. It needs to be said. Now's the time, and you're the guys to do it. So go. And
awesome.
they gave us the freedom,
and they gave us full reign.
I mean, you can see they gave us the room to actually do it. I mean, this is for a publisher to go, especially now.
That's a big deal.
Yes, to go into something like this is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Well,
to make it also, they were brilliant enough. Somehow they managed to package this in such a way that this book is only $29.95.
Yeah, it's $29.95.
Yeah,
that's insane for a 336-page book.
Yes,
it just doesn't happen.
No, not at all.
I mean, we've seen
a lot of work.
Because talking to them about it, they really want it to be out there. They really want people to pick this up, and they wanted to make it as accessible as possible. Because our message is about making it all accessible to people. And so they said they wanted to do the same thing in the pricing, and they were able to do that. I thought for a hardbound book you can go through and you can feel the embossing on the cover and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's good.
We were, because, we see being the packagers, we see the piece. We see the PDFs.
Yeah.
And we see the finished files and all the photos. But when we got it in our hands was that at Stitches West.
Yes.
So because the book didn't release until the 20th, right?
Yes.
The book didn't release until officially until the 20th this month. So what they did though,
I got it in the mail, right?
So we said, look, we're going to be at Stitches West, and this is a huge show, and we're going to be signing books. We should have it there. So they sent 50 copies to Ron and Teresa at Buffalo Wool Company to have in the booth, and we still hadn't seen it.
We hadn't seen it yet.
Our copies were supposed to show up here while we're gone, and we're like, you can't do that because it's 100 copies. And I said, you can't leave 100 copies on our front porch.
Right.
So they held the shipment, and they sent 4 copies. We didn't know. They sent 4 copies to our hotel room.
Yep.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
We get there, and there's a box with 4 copies, and we thought, oh, we'll just go on Facebook Live.
We'll just Facebook Live and open them up.
And we'll open up, and it'll be fun, right? It'll be a big party. And I look at it, and the first time I see it, I start crying on camera. And I can't talk. And Jason goes, why don't you show... He's so good to me. He goes, why don't you show him the inside of the book? So I flip the camera around so I'm not on camera. And he starts flipping through and showing them. And then when he starts crying, it comes back to me. Because looking at it is, it was amazing. We hadn't seen anything like this, and nothing that we've published has been on this level before. So we love it. We're exhausted looking at it.
Yeah.
Because we're like, wow, that really was 2 years, wasn't it?
It really was. Yeah.
Your elephant baby. Doesn't a baby, they take 2 years to gestate?
Right.
Your elephant baby. It's your little baby elephant.
It really was something. It was a big deal to work on.
That's so great. I love it. Well, it's the time of the show that we give away prizes. And so I know that we are always blessed when we're here on the podcast to have guests that come on the show to give away prizes to people. So this is what I'm going to do. If you are watching live right here on YouTube, and that means absolutely live right now, like it's 10:56 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Is it really?
You're watching live. It is.
Wow, that was fast.
Yeah,
It goes so fast.
It's when you're having fun, time goes fast. So in the chat room, all I want you to do is I want you to type, I want to win. So write, I want to win in the chat room, and Brittany will randomly select a winner here in just a couple minutes. So you have time right now to put in there, I want to
Start
win.
typing.
Start typing. And you're actually typing that so that way you get a chance to win what? Go ahead and tell them what they're going to win.
Okay, so we have of course
One
a copy
copy
of Complete Crochet Course. Woo! And then we also have our new products. Can you guys see these? And I don't think you have one of these, do you?
I don't have one.
Because you do a live giveaway plus the after fact giveaway, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing all three of these for both.
Okay.
Right?
All right. Okay. Yes.
Right?
That's what I have.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are stitch chips. And this is the new thing from XRX Books, from the folks at Teachers Events. And what it is, it's about a credit card sized plastic little carrying case, and it is a USB drive. Wait, I gotta get on camera.
Yep, I see you.
So you take this and you plug it into your computer, and in this case, it has 12 crochet patterns on this collection.
This one has 12
knitting patterns. And they are in enhanced PDF form. So like, for example, if you're looking at the crochet ones and you don't know how to do a foundation double crochet, you click on that part of the pattern.
And it takes you to our website.
It takes you to our website to the tutorial for a foundation double crochet.
Love it.
Same thing for our finishing techniques for both. And then there's also, like down at the bottom, there's links to how to find us on social media, but there's also a help link. And if you get lost, you click on the help link. It opens up an email. You copy and paste where you are. People have said it exactly this way. They copy and paste the part where they're stuck and send it to us in an email, and we answer your questions. So we're included with this.
Yes, along with the patterns.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole extras folder too. Like I can't even go into it. Would take a whole other show to go into everything in the extras folder. But open the one that says coupons.
Please,
because it has
coupons.
It has deep discounts from our studio sponsors like Buffalo Wool Company,
Clover,
Ottlight, Webb's Yarn Stores, ones like that. So go on there and take a look from Craftsy and Interweave.
Yeah.
So go ahead and take a look on that too. But there's a lot of stuff from XRX in this. And this is, I mean, you know how Benjamin is at XRX. Yeah. He thinks up these ideas and you just go, okay, where did that come from? And he goes, hey, you want to do this? And I'm like, yes. He goes, well, maybe I should tell you more about it. And I'm like, no. One in.
Yep. That's good.
So, and these are amazing. So it's a way for you to have an entire, and they have entire books on these. It's a way for you to have an entire collection of patterns on one little teeny tiny thing
that just stays wherever you want it. You can upload these to any mobile device from the cloud.
Upload them onto your cloud and put them on your mobile device. So you can take them with you. Or print them out, perfect. Whatever you want to do.
That's perfect. So just to recap, if you guys are putting over there in the chat room, I want to win, Brittany's going to randomly select somebody and you're going to get your very own complete crochet course and then both stitch chips and the guys.
You said you wanted music.
I do. I feel like I need music. I've got to get a little bit more high tech in here. I'm working on that.
You need a band.
Yeah, right. I need a band. Yes, that's it.
You totally need a house band. Get your kids to like all play like tambourines and kazoos and stuff and come in the background and march through.
Oh, yes, that would be excellent.
Look, she's like, that's a great idea.
I'll get right on that.
You saw her soul die a little bit right there. Oh, yeah, that's great.
Great idea. That's frowned upon in this establishment, just so you know.
We used that the other night, the shocked face thing.
Yeah.
In the restaurant, we didn't know you guys were back behind us there at Bears.
Uh-huh.
And I kept seeing Lindsay's husband.
Oh, yeah.
And I could see him like over Jason's shoulder, and I was like, "Oh, I know that guy."
That's funny. Yeah, we were all just kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
All right. So Brittany has selected a winner. or actually Caitlin selected the winner. Caitlin got in before Brittany. And
All
the
right.
lucky winner is Cassandra Hillary. Cassandra
Woo!
Hillary.
Cassandra!
Hey, Cassandra. I love it.
It's our all-purpose theme song.
I love that.
She got choked up over it.
That's it.
So is she getting all of them, or are you doing separate ones?
No, she's going to get all 3 of those together.
No way.
Yes, she got all of it. She gets all of it.
Oh my
yes.
Gosh, that is serious
She is.
swag.
She's lucky girl. So Cassandra Hillary, all I need you to do is email me winner@yarnthingpodcast.com, winner@yarnthingpodcast.com. Make sure you send me your email address, phone number, address. I mean, you don't have to send me your email address. If you're emailing me, I'll have it.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I know. Is there anything else that you guys need from her?
Nope. Address, email. That's it. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you guys going to sign the book for her?
Oh, of course we will.
No.
No.
That's extra. Yes, of course. All
right.
Yeah, so we need correct spelling of her name, that kind of thing.
Yeah, perfect.
Or who she wants it signed to, like if she doesn't go by.
If she goes by Cass instead of
Cassandra
or
George.
Marcus,
Bob.
John.
So Cassandra says written, she says, I am speechless. Thank you so much. So she's super excited.
The speechless?
Speechless? I am speechless.
Dear speechless, thank you for watching.
Thanks for the conversation. That's what she did. Dear speechless, thanks for the conversation.
I am Job. I am Job. I am speechless. What time did you get home? We got home at midnight.
Yeah, I got home at 10 a.m. But then, so to give the full perspective, I woke up at 6 a.m. Sunday morning, went to bed at midnight, got up at 2. So I slept for 2 hours and then flew home, and I went to bed last night at 2 a.m. Mountain time, which is 4 a.m. East Coast time. So I really had been up, 48?
Almost 24 hours. Yeah.
Well, it had been 48 minus 2 hours. You know what I mean? Because I only slept 2 hours in that time frame. This is life, right? I have work to do.
What's not helping right now is the Shibas are all laying here on the floor of the studio snoring.
Well, so that was going to be my next question, because people are like, you haven't asked about the dogs. So I'm going to ask about the dogs.
Come here, sweetie.
Pick her up.
Come on, girly girl.
We're going to wake Dallas up now, which is going to make her real happy.
Oh, look at her.
She's like, Dad, I was totally asleep. Oh, look at her. She's like,
yes, I know her.
We call her our baby girl. She's our old woman, though, to tell you the truth.
Oh.
How white her face is.
I love it.
Dad, look, see you as a baby girl.
That's so awesome. All right, so while they're looking at the doggy here, I'm going to explain how people can win their own signed copy of the complete crochet course and a knit and crochet stitch chips. If you are, let me rephrase this. At the show, as I said, we have guests that come on that give away prizes, and we're really blessed that they give one away to somebody who's listening live and one away to somebody who doesn't get a chance to listen live. But all you need to do is watch the show. So you've watched this entire show. You're like, hey, great, this is awesome. How do I win? If you go to the show notes over at marleybird.com, I've put a direct link into the video description box of this YouTube video. If you click on that, it will take you to the show notes for today's show. It includes links and images and maybe a brief synopsis of things we might have talked about. But more than anything that you're concerned about is at the very bottom of the page. Scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll see where it says leave a reply or leave a comment. And you're going to leave a reply or a comment that includes a keyword that Jason and Shannon are both going to give us here in just a second. Once you include that keyword in your comment, that enters you for a chance to win your very own copy of Complete Crochet Course and the 2 stitch chips. So we will select that winner about, I'm going to say 3 to 4 weeks after the original air date of this podcast, meaning you have time to go and leave your comment on the show notes. Okay. So yeah, the bare bones of that is go to the show notes, leave your comment with the reply, or leave your reply with the keyword that Jason and Shannon are going to give us here in just a second. And then we'll select a winner. So for example, several weeks ago, we had the Yarn Valet people on the podcast, which was fantastic and very entertaining and interesting. I love that. And so we are going to give away a prize to the lovely Mary Johnson. Mary Johnson's comment was, I bought my first Yarn Valet product after watching this podcast, the Stitcher's GPS. Would probably end up buying a couple yarn bowls too. Great price on all the products. And the keyword was Yarn Valet, so she used it appropriately, and she was randomly selected, and so now she's the lucky winner. She now will get she will receive all of our 6 products. So lucky Mary Johnson is getting all 6 of the Yarn Valet products.
I thought we won that.
I know, right? I'm sorry. So sorry.
I thought we won that for being on what dang it. Forget this then. I'm out of here.
I could hook you up with the Yarn Valet people. They're pretty awesome. Amy Evans is her name. She's pretty darn great.
More prizes.
I know, right?
Prizes.
So it's that easy, you guys. You must leave your comment on the show notes. We love your comments here on YouTube. We love your comments on Facebook, on Instagram, on Ravelry. But if you want to be entered for a chance to win this prize, it must be on this show, the show notes for this show. And that's where we will randomly select the winner. So I'm coming back to you guys. What's the keyword that they need to use?
Ultimate.
Ultimate. I love it. Ultimate is your keyword, you guys. Ultimate. So make sure you use that when you're leaving your comment.
Creativity counts, right?
Yes, right. Yeah. So I love that. Ultimate. I'm typing it out so that I can remember. Otherwise, I will forget. I know. I will totally forget.
We'll
totally forget.
Yeah, that's just the way it works.
Yes.
But I love the different, because I go through and I read all the comments, and so sometimes you get some really great, interesting, creative comments the way they use the words, and so it's fun. What's that?
Creative.
No, it's really true. But
some of them are creative and some of them are creative.
Yeah.
Right.
But in all seriousness, we randomly select the winner. Like we're like, oh, we know that person. Like we just randomly.
Yeah, but it's more fun for us to read the creative ones. So.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I have had so much fun having you guys on the podcast, and it's been a pleasure getting to watch your career grow and blossom through the years. It's been fun. We should do more collaboration stuff together. I feel like,
sure.
I mean, we both, as we keep going, we're parallel, but we're like this. Does that make sense?
Oh, no, totally.
We're out here.
There's not a lot of people who do exactly what either one of us do, and I think that's totally fine. The best thing about it, I think, is showing people that there's so many different ways to be successful in this industry, and that yes, you can be successful in this industry.
Yes,
that's the point. You have
to be fearless and work hard.
You just have to go to work.
Right.
Like somebody asked us at Stitches United, they were like, okay, tell me, how did you guys do this so fast? And how are you doing? Because we have some new things coming up that we can't announce broadly, but we did talk about them pretty extensively at Stitches United. And once it got around that was happening, they were like, how are you doing this? And it's like, well, because I get up and I go to work every day.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And people really, there's no mystery to it. It's not like we work any longer hours than any other entrepreneur does. I mean, we run a business. If we ran a yogurt shop, we'd work the same number of, probably more.
Yeah.
We work the same number of hours. It's just we can.
Well, we do sacrifice the occasional black cat, but that's.
Oh yeah, there are chickens that we sacrifice every once in a while, but don't tell people about that. That you'll edit that part out.
It's our little secret. Yeah,
you'll edit that part out.
Yes.
And anybody who's listening live won't tell, right, about the chickens. Well, we eat them afterward, at least. We cook them on our show. No, we do have a cooking show on Mondays and Fridays.
Tell
your people to all come watch. It's on our Facebook.com/Shibaguyz channel. We have a cooking show on Monday nights at 6:30 Pacific.
Yep. Come for the apron, stay for the food.
I saw your apron. I'm loving your apron. Loving your apron.
That has its own fan site, but in all seriousness, we're going to be making a pretty hefty announcement in the next 2 weeks. So stick around and take a look, because there's a huge, and we can tell you off camera, but or off when we're off live. But there's a big announcement coming in the next 2 weeks that we're finalizing those things on now that are just.
It's good stuff.
I have a hard time sleeping. I'm so excited about it.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, congratulations.
It's good to have insomnia because of that, right?
Yes. So tell them one more time where they can find you guys online, and then we'll let everybody out of here.
We are Shibaguyz on everything. So if you go on Instagram, we're Shibaguyz. We're Shibaguyz on Facebook and Twitter.
Our website is Shibaguyz Designs with a Z.
With a Z. And I think that's going to be in the show notes, right?
Yes. Yep.
So Shibaguyz Designs with a Z.com, and Complete Crochet Course is on CompleteCrochetCourse.com. All 3 books have been packaged together called the Ultimate Crochet Collection, and that's UltimateCrochetCollection.com. Our stitch chips can be found on ShibaguyzDesigns.com/stitch-chips. STITCHIPS, and you can see everything that's on them and all the individual patterns and some of the extra stuff, and you can see a video tutorial that Kelly made for how to use them. So that's extremely helpful when you can get a visual of that. But that's where we are. We are Shibaguyz on all those things. And if you go on our website right now, it's National Craft Month, so we have a giveaway that's huge on there.
Yeah, you got one more week.
You've got one more week before, like we had to like you know about doing giveaways. Is there's a dollar limit that you can go to in the United States before it's covered under different laws. We had to cut it back because we went over the dollar limit. So
wow.
So it's legal.
Yeah. I understand. Well, that is so great. I love it. So thank you guys so very much for joining me on the podcast. For having
us, Marley. This is big. Yeah,
we love every time.
We've loved it. We've loved being on. Kind of as we need to put together like a compilation of like the best of moments.
I know, right?
It's funny. We were just at Stitches United together. We were in an elevator together. We had like what 30 seconds to say hi.
Like total. I think total conversation.
Usually because you're off doing something and
we're doing your thing, and we're all like running back, and usually it's in the elevator going, okay, hi.
Yes.
How you doing? Good. You guys are good? Yeah, we're good. Okay. Okay, bye. I gotta run now.
That's exactly how
we ever get to talk.
Yeah. So. And this is nice because this is the first video chat that we've done. Usually it's all been audio in the past. Yes, this is nice being able to see your faces.
Which of course means that we had to get up like 2 or 3 hours after landing and beat the face and look human. And
I understand.
Down enough coffee.
Totally understand. Totally understand.
But thank you. Thank you for having us on again.
You're welcome. And I wish you great success with all of this. I know it's going to be awesome because it is pretty darn great. And that's the Yarn Thing podcast, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. Let's say thank you to our sponsors one last time. Thank you to Stitches.events, Creative Bug, Craftsy.com, Buffalo Wool Company, Erin Lane Bags, and last but not least, Red Heart Yarns, where I'm the proud national spokesperson and the home of Yarn by Marley Bird. Thanks, guys. Bye.